It was really by default. I studied cost and management accounting, and I aspired to be an accountant. And I looked for jobs just like many graduates would do these days when they finish their studies. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a job. The only place where I could find some job was at a petrol service station. And so I worked there as a petrol attendant. I must say, though, it was really a by the way kind of a thing. Not that I didn't intend making a career out of it. It was really just while waiting. So interestingly, then I think the bosses liked me, and so I worked my way up. I worked in the shop and in the cashier, back office, and then eventually, when the site owner was gone on holiday, I started, to act as a manager at the service station, and really, that's really how I got into it. I was lucky that one Sunday my wife was reading a Sunday newspaper, and she noticed that one of the oil companies was running an entrepreneurship program, and they were inviting applicants. And she saw it, and she said, "This is for you." And we started running around, putting together all the requirements, the CVs and everything. And luckily they then selected me to be a part of the entrepreneurship program that they were running, which took about a year. And so I was lucky to be in that program. And so eventually, when I finished the program, I then applied for a service station. One of the things that I will always be grateful for from them is that they gave me a letter of recommendation, which helped me to secure funding from one of the financial institutions. And that's it, really. That's how it happened. It was quite interesting because you'd appreciate that I had never earned a lot of money throughout my working career. And so all of a sudden, here's a service station selling for 3 million rand. 3 million rand was a lot of money for me. And so I applied, and I got the funding. And through my very good negotiation skills, even if I have to say so myself, I managed to negotiate to get another 1 million discount, and I bought that service station for 2 million rand. And yes, I was a millionaire overnight. So I was indebted because, for about 2.8 million, because I needed the working capital for about 800,000. But I worked bloody hard. I really worked hard. I didn't own a watch at the time because I never needed one. But I paid that debt in 3 years. 3 years I paid my debt. I was debt-free from that service station. And then I think, once you work with fuel, you really never get out of it. The smell of it, everything about it, you just get hooked in the industry. And I think that's how I really just got going. I bought another one, and I kept going. And the rest is history. He was on his way to Australia. So I was working at dealer council at the time as a vice chairman, and I quite took interest in him. He was a young man, sharp, well spoken, and I thought, wow, maybe this guy I can work with, because he's young, I'm older, he's white, I'm black, he's much more educated, and I am not as educated. And I thought, I needed somebody to complement my weaknesses. So where I'm weak, he is strong. And that's really where, I approached him and I said, "Look, Mark, I think we can do something together. As much as he frustrates me, but he compliments me at the same time."
I think there were a number of steps that we had to take as Spinello always says, we always had to court, for a little while. I think liken it to a marriage, because I think with any partnership, it's like getting into a marriage. Often Spinello says he spends more time with his wife, and in fact says to me, you spend more time with me than my own husband. But I think it's very much about getting to know the strengths and weaknesses of someone, getting to understand what makes them tick, what doesn't make them tick, what you shouldn't say, what you should say. So I think our partnership kind of grew as we started acquiring other sites together, but as we started getting to know each other in a personal aspect as well, because it's not only in a business aspect. One needs to understand, that friendship, because I think there needs to be, that friendship grows only over time, because you're spending time with the person in a business light, that you're understanding the way that they like things being done in business, that complementing kind of just happened over time. I think obviously an entrepreneur gets into this industry often from the outside that looks at it as very lucrative. Now, it is one of the more lucrative industries, if one looks at it from the outside, but one needs to understand the challenges that come with that. So, with gain comes a lot of challenges. And I think challenges that we've often seen is that cash flow management. And I mentioned that one first because cash flow management really runs that business. Service station is run on cash flow. There's money in and out all the time. So I think those challenges have been one thing. And I think time investment into a service station. For a lot of entrepreneurs getting into a service station, often it looks lovely from the outside. One sees the vehicle coming onto the forecourt, and then you see the vehicle leaving the forecourt. The money goes to the tenant, and that's it. So for a motorist, often a motorist just looks at this and doesn't sort of see what goes on behind the scenes. What labor base is behind the scenes? What skills do they need? What are the legalities around this? What are the legalities around your staff? Controls and systems. That's also another big challenge. And obviously then gearing that comes with acquiring a service station. So that first 5 years of owning a service station, once you've either, you've normally come in and you've had to finance a portion of that or all of it, there's obviously not a lot of room for failure in that. And I think time investment and understanding your business 100% is absolutely key. PetroCONNECT was really formed when we started seeing a lot of these challenges that I've spoken about, and we've aimed to create practical solutions to these challenges. So PetroCONNECT has mushroomed over the past couple of years because we've found different problems, different challenges, and then with changes that we're experiencing in this country, we've kind of seen those changes coming and saying, well, what is the result going to be of these changes if we don't find the solutions to them? So PetroCONNECT Academy was obviously born to create solutions to that hand-holding process, mentorship, support. And with the Academy, you obviously have got back-office systems. We've got labor systems. Now, those are offered to current entrepreneurs and dealers within the industry and retailers. Then it's for the retailers coming in, that we can go in with our hand-holding process. So we offer that hand-holding as part of Academy, but it's then about getting the right systems in place. That then formed the other wheels that we call them in PetroCONNECT, from your advisory and brokerage services when sites are needing to change hands, whether there's a partnership that's needed, how do we match the right people together. It's not a matchmaking exercise as such, but we empower the people coming in with the right knowledge to then be able to make a success with their potential partner. Then you've got a lot of dealers and retailers that want to exit the industry for whatever reason that may be, that then we can then put the right people in and then help them. A filling station can be a really good business. I think every retailer out there always says, no, they're not making money and margins. And yes, there are a number of challenges that one is still, there's always a lot of fighting that goes on, as is with any corporate business. You know, there's these challenges that one has to deal with. But at the same time, fuel retail is a good business. It is a lucrative business. Your return on investment, it is good if you do it right. Your return on investment can be anything from 23, 24, 25%, around about that region, anywhere up to 40%. So it really depends on what you've invested into the site and also what type of site you've invested into. So it could have been a growing site, it could be in a developing area, it could be in a site that isn't going to change very much. That's what obviously affects the return on investment.